finding yourself as being one of the Israelites, the members of the Israelite army, quaking in your boots, ready to cut and run, or are you finding yourself to be more like David, that when the going gets tough, you're ready to say, charge, let's go. I know the battle is the Lord's. I know that God is on my side. If God is for me, who can be against me? And you're ready to go. Well, if you're like me, probably more often than not, you find yourself on the side of knowing all that, but not being quite so willing to actually live it and be it and that sort of thing. So know that if you're new to the faith, that situation is going to come up time and time again for you as you live forward into the person God has created you to be. We wish, when we pray, that we had this rock solid faith all the time, that no matter what foe we came up against, or what situation, or what disappointment, or whatever, that we wouldn't waver. We would be unshakable. But it isn't quite like that. We, unfortunately, are still human beings. And even though we know this to be true, that God is on our side, we sometimes turn, and our most natural reaction is either to bury our heads in the sand or to run. Well, know this. It is incredibly legitimate for you to pray and make it a part of your prayer life as you grow in your likeness of Christ, as you grow in this relationship, to pray for God to increase your faith. We see it in Mark's Gospel, where the writer says, I believe, help my unbelief. I always like that. I believe, help my unbelief. It's a two-sided coin. We know, we believe, we have experienced, we know it to be true. If we look backwards in our lives, we know God was with me, God protected me. We know how the story comes out, that time and time again, that when the going got tough, maybe not on our timetable, but in God's perfect timetable, that God did deliver us. And that was the case. But still, even though we know that, we have an unbelief. Well, what if he doesn't come through this time? What's going to happen? And so we're not so ready to do that. But just know that as a new Christian, you're going to face this. This is a battle that isn't going to go away. It's a battle of faith, not our faith, not the faith that causes us to be justified before Christ, that allows us to be saved, but the kind of daily faith that it takes to walk with Jesus, to take up our cross every day, and to be a Christian in the real world, to be that kind of light on a hill example that we're called to be salt and light in the world. However you want to put it, that's what your job is now as a Christ follower, but it's going to take a daily renewing of your faith. It's going to take the ability that you have to recognize when fear is ruling your life, that you've got to turn back to God and ask God to increase your faith, to give you that power, to put a hedge of protection around you so that you have the courage and the resources and the wherewithal to move forward. And I promise you, God will be faithful. Great is thy faithfulness, we say about God. You've already learned that in your life. You'll see it time and time and time again as you go along, because that is our testimony as Christians. The battle really is the Lord's, and we are his soldiers, and he will protect us. We know how the story ends. Keep the faith, hang in there, and go forth to be the person God created you to be.